Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're going way beyond just piggy banks and allowances. We're diving into what is honestly one of the most critical life skills you can ever give your kids, a real, deep understanding of money.
This story about Sarah and Tom, it probably feels pretty familiar to a lot of us, right? It just highlights a really tough reality. If you don't have that solid financial foundation built early on, just working hard isn't always enough to get ahead. And that's the cycle we're here to talk about breaking.
Think about it. We're living in a world with student loans, crypto, one-click investing. The old advice to just save your pennies, it just doesn't cut it anymore. Financial literacy, it's not some luxury. It is an absolute necessity for our kids to navigate the world they're growing up in. Okay, so that's the big question, isn't it? How do we actually build that foundation for our kids? We've talked a bit about the why it's so important, so now let's get into the good stuff. The practical how you can start making a difference, like today.
All right, first things first. Why does this all matter so much? Let's really dig into the stakes and, of course, the rewards.
Okay, next up, we're talking about the first steps, earning and saving. This is where the whole journey begins, right? With these two fundamental pillars, figuring out how to make money and then learning how to actually hold on to it. So let's look at a story of two savers to see how this plays out. First, you've got Emily. She starts putting away just $100 a month at 18. Then you've got David. He saves the exact same amount, but he waits until he's 28 to start. Now just look at the difference by the time they hit retirement. It's staggering. And the only thing that changed was that 10-year head start. So what's the secret sauce behind Emily's incredible success? It's something called compounding interest. It sounds complicated, but it's a really simple, incredibly powerful idea. It's your money earning its own money. The snowball analogy is absolutely perfect. The longer that snowball rolls down the hill, the bigger and faster it grows. It's like magic, but it's real. Okay, so where do you even start with this stuff? Well, it begins with two super simple tools. First, an allowance that's tied to chores. This creates a really clear link between work and getting paid. And second, a good old-fashioned piggy bank. It makes saving tangible, Letting a kid see, feel, and even hear their money grow is so motivating. All right, let's move on to the next level, smart spending. Because once they've earned some money and saved a bit, the very next lesson is teaching them how to spend it wisely. Now, the word budget can sound kind of restrictive, right? But it's not about that at all. It's about control. Think of it like a map for your financial journey. Without a map, you're just drifting. But with one, you can steer your boat exactly where you want to go. And really, at the heart of any budget is this one simple idea: understanding the difference between needs and wants. Needs are the things you've got to have to survive. Wants are, everything else. Helping your kid really get this, like when they're staring at a new toy they want versus the new shoes they actually need, I'm telling you, it's a total game changer. If you're looking for a simple framework, the 50-30-20 rule is fantastic. It goes like this: 50% of their money can go to needs, 30% is for their wants, and then a really crucial 20% gets set aside for saving and even for giving. It's just a super clear, easy to remember way to practice managing money in a balanced way. Okay, on to the big picture. Growth. We've talked about earning, saving, and spending, so now it's time for that final exciting piece of the puzzle: teaching our kids how to actually make their money grow for the long haul. I love this way of thinking about it. If saving is all about protecting your money, then investing is about putting that money to work for you. It's kind of like the difference between just storing a bunch of seeds in a jar versus actually planting them in the ground. That one little seed, if you give it time and the right conditions, can grow into a huge tree that gives you fruit for years and years. That's exactly what investing can do for your money. So what does this actually look like? Well, you can start by introducing three basic ideas. First, stocks. That's when you own a tiny little piece of a company. Then there are bonds. That's basically you lending money to a government or a big business. And finally, mutual funds. Think of these as a big basket that holds lots of different stocks and bonds all together, which helps spread out your risk. But a truly wealthy life, it's not just about how much you can accumulate, right? It's also about what you can contribute. Weaving the idea of giving and generosity into their financial plan teaches a really powerful lesson: that money can be an amazing tool for making a real, positive impact on the world around us. So, we've talked about all these tools, apps, budgets, different concepts. But I want to talk about the single most powerful, most influential tool in your child's financial education, And it's not an app or a piggy bank. It's you.
The meaning behind this quote is so simple but so profound. You can talk about smart money habits until you're blue in the face, but what you do speaks so much louder than what you say. The habits your kids see you practicing every single day, those are the ones they're going to end up adopting for themselves.
So what does being a great financial role model actually look like? It means talking openly about money, sharing your goals, maybe even talking about your mistakes. It means leading by example with your own habits around saving and budgeting. Honestly, your consistency is the best classroom they will ever have. Look, this doesn't have to be some big formal lecture. It can start with just one simple question at the dinner table tonight. Just by opening that door, you're starting to build a foundation that will give them a lifetime of financial confidence. So, my question to you is, what money conversation will you start?